when we were talking about the song, it's kind of like, and I think we've all experienced it when nighttime hits, everything gets dark. It's like, that's when, like when you lay in bed and all of a sudden you're thinking about all these things you did 15 years ago and you're like, shoot, why did I do that? It's like, there's a little bit more, I don't know if anxiety is the right word, but like anxiousness that comes with nighttime. And I think it's because it doesn't feel like bright. You can't look out the window and see kilometers away. It's everything's a little bit more closed in. And so I think with the song, it was kind of just creating that balance where it's like, yes, this is kind of, it's upset and wanting to reach out to this other person, but there's an anxiousness that goes with it. And I think having it build the way it does really it kind of gets that message across.
Are you out tonight to drink me off your mind? Do you see my face when you close your eyes? Are you in the dark staring at your phone? Are you with someone else or are you alone? Are you still
I want to welcome you, Taylor-Rae, to Pop-Up Conversations. We're here in Toronto. We talk to artists across the country about their musical journey, projects in the present, and all the stuff they're working on. So welcome on the show, Taylor-Rae.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I want to also thank everybody who might join in. Just as we're having this conversation, we wouldn't have the time to interact with you, but we're excited that you're here, and we're talking to Taylor-Rae today. And we're really so excited. I think where I want to start off would be your first single. I just want us to go back a little bit to Hellbent, because it's an incredible song as well. If you could just lead us into the creation of that song and how the creative process went, would be very thankful.
Yeah, Hellbent. So these songs are the first kind of songs that I've really recorded that I actually didn't write. And it was kind of a weird segue to get there. I was kind of just thinking about like, what's the next project? And I wanted to evolve my sound a little bit. And so I got writing and listening to song pitches and all these different things. And I was sitting on the plane and Hellbent came on, and I was just sitting there and I'm like, this is my song. I have to record this song. Like every line of the song, when it says, I'm a hurricane, my family is always like, oh, Hurricane Tay's coming home this weekend. And it's probably not a compliment, but I was like, I really relate to that. and I've grown up always hearing how stubborn I am and all these different things. So this song, literally line for line, I was just like, I felt like I wrote it, but maybe it was articulated better from an outside perspective, which I thought was really cool. And so that was the first one. I was like, okay, let's do it. I went to my producer, Dan Swinimer, who's been amazing. And he brought Tavish Crow in on the song and everything. And we worked it and worked it and worked it till it had like that right feel, till it kind of just felt like me, which is why I really wanted that to be the first release out of kind of this batch of new songs, just because I'm like, if I'm evolving as an artist and recreating my sound a little bit, I really want it to be true to who I am. And so I thought Hellbent was just the perfect way to do that.
It is such an incredible song. So I'll just back up a bit. A comment on what you said about being called Hurricane Tay by family. I read that in your bio. You were an Edmonton native, correct? But
yeah.
you live in Vancouver, right? So I read that piece from your bio, and it struck me because it would seem that the two songs I've listened to right now are that powerful. It's not just about having the word in the song, but the force with which the song is executed, I think also mirrors that ability to be as powerful as a hurricane is. And I think that's very, very telling. So first of all, I know that song did a whole lot of good on the charts. I want to say congratulations on that song itself, Hellbent. Well, I wanna get into your ability to. So I read about that you've been singing for a long time and you've come to this place, but it wasn't in the last 8 to 9 years, I think, that you buckled down and wanted to make this a career. How has your skill been refined over these years? What has refined your skills to the point where you are now that you sound really, really just phenomenal, I would say.
Thank you. Um, I mean, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So growing up, my dad, I mean, I didn't know a ton of music. I just knew what he sang and what was on the radio. So we would always sing together and he would just throw on songs that I didn't know. And I was always so determined to be as good as I could be at them. And so I would have like my Martina McBride songs where I'm like, okay, I'll only sing this a couple times today because it's really hard to sing. But that was like, I would set these bars.
Uh-huh.
And so once I could finally sing that song, I was like, okay, what's the next song?
Uh-huh.
And it just kind of like grew like that. And then eventually, I mean, my dad was like, you know, you could probably buckle down and take this a little more seriously than just like karaokeing. And so I did, and I got going. And when I moved to Vancouver, I actually joined a soul choir,
Okay.
which I'll honestly, I feel like developed a majority of what's in my voice right now. Like I think it brought out the ability to be soulful and to have that depth to my voice and to kind of jump around from the highs and lows. Like because they just basically threw me in it and they're like, hey, here's a solo, try this out. And so I was just kind of like live performance, figuring my voice out. And it took a couple years of being in the choir to really settle in and kind of like understand what I could do vocally. And I think that's something that I've always wanted to do in my music. I've always wanted to, you know, to kind of make everything sound big and powerful and obviously have those more pulled back moments. But I get a little bit bored singing straight across songs just kind of that are really relaxed. And I know there's a time and a place for those, but yeah, I think it's just been this constant of me just trying to push and push and push and hit the songs of the people I look up to and all those different things. And yeah, to this day, I mean, there's so many different factors that have affected the growth of my vocals, I guess. But
Uh-huh.
I would say like my dad setting those kind of bars and throwing those songs at me and the choir honestly have just been two of the biggest influences.
I hear you. I hear you. See, I'm by no means saying that you're new to the industry, but I think when I listen to you, at least the songs that I've listened to, you sound so confident on the songs. Like it feels like you've been here for like 20 years, like you've been doing this for that long. And that's why I asked, because your vocals are the things that you're able to do and the things that you dare to do, especially with the harmonies that we're going to talk about when we get to Are You Still Up? It's just really confident, and that's why I asked that song. So Are You Still Up, which we're here to talk about. I want to say congratulations for that before we begin, because it's a remarkable song as well. It was released on October 1st,
Yeah.
and it's been doing crazy. I hear that it's reached #3 on the iTunes top country downloads in Canada when it was released, and 29 overall in the country. So when I hear such songs, I think what comes to mind is that the sentiments in the song isn't quite new, but of course the way an artist executes what the song is saying is so there are two ways basically that the sentiments can be expressed. You could do it in a solemn way, basically post breakup stuff, and you could do it in the way that you've chosen to do it, in a fierce and really feisty way. But I think what makes the song really work, in my opinion, is just this is that the lyric is going one way, but the instrumental pull in the other direction, right? You hear it and you think it's kind of like a happy song, but it's not really. How was that process of finding the song and really performing it as though it was written by you and you probably had gone through that experience? How was that process?
Yeah, I mean, when we were talking about the song, it's kind of like, and I think we've all experienced it, when nighttime hits, everything gets dark. It's like, that's when, like when you lay in bed and all of a sudden you're thinking about all these things you did 15 years ago and you're like, shoot, why did I do that? It's like, there's a little bit more, I don't know if anxiety is the right word, but like anxiousness that comes with nighttime. And I think it's because it doesn't feel like bright. You can't look out the window and see kilometers away. Everything's a little bit more closed in. And so I think with the song, it was kind of just creating that balance where it's like, yes, this is kind of, it's upset and wanting to reach out to this other person, but there's an anxiousness that goes with it. And I think having it build the way it does really make it kind of gets that message across, right? Because it's not so much like a solemn feeling. It is like, I'm anxious and I need to get this out somewhere. And so for me, when I was singing that chorus, trying to be in that headspace, I'm like, I don't feel sad if I feel anxious at nighttime or thinking about all the things I have to do that I didn't get done that day, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like I want to get going. I want to go pedal to the metal, do this all right now, but I can't because everything's asleep, you know? So I think the way we approached the song was kind of in that sense, just kind of creating that angst behind it.
Yeah, and like I said, that's what I hear, and that's what I love about it. Another feature, I should say, in the song itself was just this rhetorical questions that are being asked all through that you don't quite get a response for, and I think that is also brilliant because you don't get a response for it, and it's rhetorical, and you have to somehow figure out, you know, what the answer might be. I think that longing is also a very brilliant component of the song, and I just, the tune is okay, and the instrumentation as well takes you on this journey, just like you've said. It starts slow, there are elements of pop in there and soft rock and all of this stuff, and it's just, it takes you on the journey without the lyric itself, but the music itself takes you on this journey, and there's pockets there, and it's just really remarkably done, Taylor-Rae. It's really remarkably done.
Thank you. No, I'm glad. I really found that with the instrumentation too, and that's, I mean, hugely to do with my producers, Dan and Tavish. It's, when I listened to it, I was like, the sound is so full, but also there's this like negative space to it where it still feels like empty, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Which I think is really cool.
I've been trying hard not to call, but something about tonight, I've hit a wall. No, I don't want you back. I don't want to talk about what's done and how it all went wrong. Believe me, wish I didn't think what I'm thinking. Are you out tonight to drag me off your mind? Do you see my face when you close your eyes? Are you in the dark, staring at your phone? Are you with someone else, or are you alone? Are you still up? 'Cause I can't sleep. Is it just me thinking about us? Are you still up?
So, two monster singles, I might say, out this year. What are we working towards? Is this an EP? Is this what's happening here?
Yes, I mean, currently kind of narrowing songs down and all that, but I am planning to have an EP coming in the new year, which I'm really excited about. I think it'll just be a really cool representation of basically over the past 2 years of who I've like become as an artist. So I'm excited to have that out.
Awesome. Is there a name for it just yet? Oh, that's too far.
Reaching.
No, that's way too far in advance. I like to fly by the seat of my pants.
No. So what are we to be expecting though? And I'm just asking because there's just this intensity to what you do. Are we going to be hearing more of this type of sound, or are there instances where you're going to break it down and do like ballad stuff and all of that? Because I would love to hear you do that as well.
You know what? I am a huge ballad fan, and my band will tell you that I consistently write songs that are just nice and slow because they're really fun to sing.
Okay.
And they actually challenge me. They're like, you have to write a faster song and just see how it goes. But yeah, so I love this kind of music, and I think kind of being able to make a song me and also a bit more commercially friendly is kind of a nice balance right now.
Mhm.
But I mean, I love ballads. I always say I would love to do a full album of them. So I think you can definitely expect one or two on the upcoming EP.
Awesome, awesome. Um, it's remarkable. I'm just really a fan. This song is catchy. It's an anthem. I've been listening to my headphone all day and in the car, just going around, and it's stuck in there. So I think that's yeah, I think that's the marker of a good song when it's stuck in your head and you can't shake it. So, congratulations on the single. We'll be looking out for everything that you put out going forward. We're now fans of yours, whether you like it or not. It's just the way it's just the way we roll here. But we want to wish you the best. We're going to point people to that single and do the best we can to point it to our audience and just keep supporting you the best way we can, Taylor-Rae. It's been a great pleasure to talk to you, to discover your music. We're really supporters of yours.
Thank you so much. No, I really appreciate it.
Okay, okay. I know we'll keep talking, but for now, I want to say have a great rest of your day and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. We'll talk soon.
Awesome. Take care now.
Okay, bye.